Learn how to create, sustain, and scale up your print-on-demand business with the latest tips, guides, and strategies to help you start selling and making money today. Welcome to the Sales on Demand Show. And here's your host, Adam Schneider.
Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 67 of the Sales on Demand Show, and I am delighted that you are here listening to me. It is almost Father's Day, so yeah, we are heading into the summer season, and today's show is all about 3 reasons that Amazon is just the best platform to sell on. So, I've been in front of my computer and I've been in front of kids' computers all day. I'm literally going insane. There's just way too much to do. This is not how I envisioned the start of my summer, but most of this is because of the homeschooling that's been forced upon us right now. My daughter is in high school and she's like, I need help with this really bizarrely difficult math project. So I sat there for about 5 hours today working on this math project. It was crazy. And then, we decided to go camping, but the campsite was 3 hours drive away, and the muffler on my truck fell off, and good times. Good times. And then, of course, I've had loads of messages from customers because it always happens every holiday season. Everybody gets really panicky, on the lead up to Mother's Day, Father's Day. They're like, is this going to arrive in time? I'm just worried about this. So they send you messages. This is all Etsy customers doing this. So we're going to talk about that. And unfortunately, really no productive work getting done right now, but that's okay because I have the summer and I have lots of ideas to implement. So right now, what's selling right now? So Father's Day stuff, if you got them on Amazon, they might sell. If you've got Fulfilled by Amazon stuff sitting at the warehouse ready to sell, you're going to see lots and lots of sales right now. And this is why I love Amazon FBA so very much, because this is the part of the year where I get my best sales. Or should I say the season, because these seasons come, regularly. So what's selling now? You're going to need to look into evergreen stuff. So I talked about evergreen stuff last episode, and I believe I promised you guys we'd talk about how to find or how to do the best stuff on Amazon and how to find stuff for FBA. So we're going to start talking about Amazon a lot more because I'm going to be working on, making Amazon look really good. So birthdays, retirements, weddings, anniversaries, religious stuff. And you know what? Don't just think about stuff for English people. Think about stuff for other cultures. Maybe there's cultural celebrations coming up. Obviously, Cinco de Mayo is done and gone because that's the 5th of May. But there's other cultural events. And if you can get somebody to create designs for those cultural events, you can list them and probably make some sales on niches that nobody else is thinking about. I know that I have not done anything. I have maybe 1 or 2 designs in different languages, which is bizarre for me because I actually speak more than one language, so it kind of just makes sense for me to do stuff in other languages, but I haven't yet because I haven't run out of English ideas yet, so I haven't needed to go any further. So right now on Amazon, it's time to start looking for items to send to FBA. So I did have somebody ask me, how do you work with Amazon? How do you make Amazon, give you $10,000 in a month? Because that's what's happening to me right now. In the month of May, I did $10,000 in sales. That's actually not amazing. There's other sellers that are doing much, much, much better. One seller reported that she just had a $3,000 day, and I was thinking, that is insane. That is amazing. A $3,000 day. It's phenomenal. And there are plenty of other sellers doing, $1,000, $2,000 days, $1,500 days during holidays. And then maybe outside of the holidays, they're doing $300, $400 in sales per day. I mean, that is basically a full-time income for any normal person. That's about $100,000 a year in profit if you're not spending, a lot of money on pay-per-click or anything like that. I mean, 30% profit, that's $100,000 a year. And that's a very good profit from a business that really doesn't take a ton of time to manage, especially when Amazon handles the customer service. So today we're going to talk about the 3 reasons that Amazon is just the best. All right, so I have expressed prior that I appreciate Etsy's existence and that Etsy has been pretty good to me this year. Not as good as Amazon, but not too bad. But one thing about Etsy that is frustrating to me is that Etsy customers are very, very needy. And they always message you, something goes wrong, the mug breaks on its way, they'll message you and be like, hey, this broke, and then you have to say, send me a picture so I can get a replacement. And then, when they're ordering, they're like, hey, can I get this by Father's Day? And you're like, that's not going to happen. And then people who order from Canada, of course, who knows when they're going to get their item. Like, shipping to Canada right now is like 4 weeks at least. And then, the tracking just stops working at the border. So that's really annoying. It's enough to make me want to just cut Canada out of my sales completely. This is very frustrating. Although, most of the time people just sort of accept that and they don't bother me with questions. But it happens enough that, I think about cutting Canada out every now and then because just the customer complaints it's a bit of a pain. So Etsy customers are very needy. That's why I always say that if you got lots of time on your hands, Etsy is the place to go. Because you don't need money to scale up your Etsy, you just need time. But you do need the time. You can't really outsource that to anybody else. Etsy doesn't really like that. There might be some ways to kind of, outsource some of it. You could, if you get a lot of customized orders, you could hire somebody to create the designs and send them to the customer while you handle all of the rest of it. But I don't know. It could work, but it's just not as easy as Amazon Fulfilled by Amazon, FBA. So the second thing that I love about Amazon FBA is, so first of all, Amazon customers, Amazon handles most of the customer service with buyers. And so it is very rare that I get messages from Amazon customers. Although, when a customer sends you a message on Amazon, you have to respond within 24 hours. So there's a bit more of an expectation there. Etsy, you could literally just never respond, and Etsy doesn't care. But Amazon, they expect you to respond. Although on Amazon, you're much less likely to have this back and forth with 15 different messages. And sometimes Amazon customers have basically, they just don't even pay attention to your reply. So when you respond, they don't see it. And they send you the same message again. That's annoying. But it doesn't happen very often. And most of the time, Amazon handles the customer service because Amazon is shipping the product to the customer if you're doing FBA. And you should be doing FBA. So for anybody who doesn't know what FBA is, Amazon has a program, and I'm sure you knew this, you just don't think about it, but it's called Amazon Prime. So you can literally order anything off of Amazon Prime, and when there isn't a pandemic going on, it'll be shipped to you within 2 or 3 days, right? That's Amazon Prime. Well, the way that happens is that somebody had to go and buy that and ship it to Amazon, and it sits there in their warehouse for, however much time it needs to be there. And then when it sells on Amazon, they take it, they package it, ship it out. It's called Fulfillment by Amazon. Fulfillment is just sending the product to the customer. Now, FBM is fulfillment by merchant. That's when someone else packages and ships the product to the customer. And a lot of sellers do both. Most sellers actually do both, or a mix of each one, depending on how things are going. If you don't have enough time to send a package to Amazon and get it checked in there, sometimes people do fulfilled by merchant. The difficulty with fulfilled by merchant is that there's way more competition. Customers really like that 2-day shipping. That is the biggest draw for Amazon Prime. I mean, okay, think about it. Amazon literally revolutionized the whole shopping online thing with this 2-day Prime shipping, free shipping. I mean, before Amazon offered that, you basically had to wait 2 or 3 weeks for everything that you ordered online, because the order had to be processed and someone had to go and package it. And then, I don't know, the old systems were just so inefficient. Amazon revolutionized the whole thing. And they use robots and machines and, barcodes and all kinds of crazy stuff that I don't even care about to make that work. And it does work. And customers love it. And people, 100 million people have signed up for Amazon Prime. So that's a lot of people. That's in the United States. In Canada, I'm not sure how many people have done that. Other countries like the United Kingdom, they all have Amazon Prime. It's not quite as big. The United States is the big one. So that's where you want to start, right? If you're a new seller, I just spoke with someone today who was asking about, how do I print my own mugs? How do I find packaging? I want to sell on Amazon.uk, whatever the Amazon site is in the United Kingdom and in Europe. And I'm like, why? Why would you do that? That just sounds like a lot of work to me. I mean, you're buying, printing stuff, packaging, and you're going to sit there and print your own mugs, assuming you sell any. So start with the United States and work your way out from there. So the other thing with Amazon is that Fulfillment by Amazon sells really well all year long. And it's hands-off, really hands-off. About as much hands-off as you can get with selling physical products. You print it, you send it to Amazon, they handle the rest. As long as you can find a winning product. That is tricky, I'm not going to lie to you. That's more complicated than it sounds. You don't just print and send whatever. I've tried that. It doesn't really work very well. Plus, the third thing about Amazon that I really love over Etsy is that Amazon pay-per-click. The advertising platform that Amazon offers is so much better than Etsy. You have so much more control. You can add keywords, you can bid on keywords, you can do so much with it, and it is very complicated. And I am planning another podcast episode on how to use Amazon pay-per-click. It's way more complicated because you have to have the buy box, you have to have Amazon Pro. You can't use the Amazon individual account, and the Amazon Pro professional seller account costs $40 a month, and a lot of people are like, I don't want to pay that. There's other drawbacks to Amazon that aren't present with Etsy, but I can manage those drawbacks. Like, for example, Amazon takes a long time to send payments out. They basically hold your money for 2 weeks, and that's 2 weeks after the order has arrived at the customer. So in many cases, it can be 4 weeks. But all of those things, I can handle that, right? I'm getting so tired of customer service. That's the one thing that e-commerce sellers really drives them crazy. It's their number one complaint, is they're like, I love selling online, but it's driving me crazy. All of the customer messages and complaints, and this is wrong, and I got the wrong item, and then you got to manage all of that, right? So that's Etsy. But Etsy has, you can start for basically free. So that's basically the 3 reasons that I love Amazon more than Etsy. So I thought I'd share with you guys my plan this year for Amazon, what I'm going to do to grow my Amazon platform this year. So one thing that I've been slacking on is launching designs in niches that I have not yet covered. So the evergreen ones that I mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, like birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, retirements, and just general thank yous. Like, hey, I appreciate you being my admin assistant. I have a few of those, but not enough. So I'm going to really expand my evergreen products. I've been focusing recently on, like pandemic themed things, Father's Day, Mother's Day. So I'm going to divert myself from that and start using Etsy to find winning designs and phrases. And then I'm going to create designs, my own version of it, and wait to see if anything sells. If I see that something looks good, if it gets a lot of views on Amazon, maybe 1 or 2 sales, I'm going to send maybe small quantities of fulfilled by Amazon stock. So I'm going to print a few and send it to Amazon. That gets me that Prime label. And if something sells okay without Prime, it'll sell much better with Prime. Then I'll scale up the winners using Amazon pay-per-click to find more keywords and get items ranked for a whole bunch of searches. So I'll talk about that when I do the Amazon pay-per-click episode, which I might do next week if I remember. So that's my plan for this year for Amazon. It's going to be a lot of work. And one of the challenges that I'm running into is that I've got so many things on the go right now. I'm going to have to drop something and take some vacation time and just work on this by itself only, and then really focus on this. And it's been difficult to do this while the kids are in school still, because every day it's like the same. It's like, Dad, I need help with this. And I'm like, yes, you do, and I will sit down and help you, because, kids are kind of important. You want to make sure that they do well in school. That's part of being a father. It's my primary job. And then I really love going camping, and I want to go, out. I want to be outdoors, my garden. I want to just not be in the house all the time. So that's part of what I want to do. I work out. I do a lot of running. Takes a lot of time out of my day, and I don't always have time to sit down and launch new designs, even though that's the thing that's going to grow the business. So that's what I'm going to be doing this summer, because it's quiet and I have lots of peace. I don't have to manage a whole bunch of customer requests, hopefully. It'll just be a normal amount of selling day-to-day kind of thing, not the craziness that Mother's Day and Father's Day has been. And hopefully by the end of the summer, this coronavirus nonsense will be over. I mean, I'm not saying that, coronavirus is a hoax or anything like that. I know it's a virus, it's killing people, but just this whole lockdown thing has really, I'm just done with it. I'm just over this, man. Like, let's just get back to a normal life. So those are my plans, and I thought I would share with you some random thoughts that I had about Amazon. It's something that I've just thought about doing, and I don't know if it's practical or not, but it's really something that I've thought a lot about, because I do get quite a few orders from Canada, and I've often thought about whether I could print those mugs from my house and ship them to my Canadian customers directly, because it's just a pain having them shipped from the United States and crossing the border, and Canada Post just does not care. Like, anything that comes from outside of Canada, they don't track it, they don't care about it, it sits in their warehouse forever, and it's just like the last priority. So I would really like to get a faster way to get stuff to my Canadian customers, and that would really help me on Etsy. And I know people would pay, Canadians would pay more if they knew they were going to get it faster. So that's another idea too. And I get a literal ton of orders from Canada, just because of the way Etsy works. Plus, I've been getting a pile of orders on Amazon for Amazon Canada, because all of my US listings, they migrate to Canada. And I talked about that a couple episodes ago. Go have a listen to that one. I think it's episode 64 or something like that. Anyway, I talked about selling internationally and how to do that and why it's a good idea. So moving into this idea of printing mugs from home, this is what I would need. So I would need a printer that could handle the special kind of ink that you need to print sublimated coffee mugs. Then I would need some kind of software program that I could just quickly use to print, like a page or two with several sheets on it or whatever. I wouldn't want to waste the paper because I think it's expensive. And, the whole point of printing mugs from home is that it's a little bit cheaper. The ink is also fairly expensive, but I think you can buy it in bulk. And of course, you need to buy the blank mugs, and they have to be special kinds of mugs that are able to be sublimated. So you need that. And there's two ways to get the printing onto the mug. So how it works is that the ink goes into the paper, and then you tape the paper onto the mug, and then you heat it. And at warehouses, like the Custom Happy warehouse, or any other print-on-demand warehouse, they have these heaters that are specially designed, and you put the mug in there, and you close and lock it in, and it heats it at the right spot. But you can also do this in your oven. So you can turn your oven on, and there's a special clamp. It's just this silicone clamp that you put around the mug, clamp it on, and that also works to sublimate coffee mugs. And in fact, the fellow I had on as a guest a while ago, Travis Ross, he was using his oven to print coffee mugs. And I think that actually might be faster because if you're using a machine to put one mug in at a time, I mean, it's going to take you forever. You're going to have to, one mug. You'd need 4 or 5 of these machines set up to do any kind of scale. If you have your oven going, now this sounds bizarre. Hopefully your wife isn't going to, hit you over the head with a frying pan for taking her oven. Unless you are the wife, in which case, probably doesn't matter. Your husband's probably not, clamoring to use the oven. Unless he's a real, go-getter and likes to bake muffins and cookies and stuff. In which case, man, you picked a good guy. Anyway, so you throw them in the oven. You could probably throw 9 or 10 or 12. I mean, you could probably throw more than that in there. And as long as the heat is fairly even and you get the right amount of time, you could print a whole bunch of mugs at once. Open the oven, let them cool down a bit, take the tape off, boom, done. So that is something that I've thought about. And then if you had something that was selling really well and you wanted to get more stock to Amazon, well, if you're trying to order from a warehouse that's already really busy, that's very hard to do. But if you're printing them yourself, well, it's very easy to just go and do it yourself, right? You just need the time. If you have the time, then you could literally be restocking items at Christmas time, and then it opens up a whole bunch of options that normally you wouldn't have, like customized packaging and bundling. So if you don't know what a bundle is, then just picture more than one item bundled into a package, right? So bundling is actually a really good way to earn money on Amazon with just normal products, like dollar store products. You buy a whole bunch of things that would go together, you bundle them together, and you sell it as a bundle. And you sell that bundle for teachers, or it's here's a Valentine's Day bundle, and it's got a whole bunch of Valentine's Day stuff in it. I mean, this is actually a really good business model. It's just not something I have time to do. But there's a lot of people out there making good money creating bundles, and they just make the bundles at home. So if you wanted to sell a coffee mug and put a little thing of coffee in it, instant coffee, some special coffee or hot chocolate, you could create a bundle. And you could have your own packaging, and you could put notes inside it. On Etsy, people are always asking, hey, can you put a note in this thing and ship it with the note? And I'm like, nope, I cannot. I have no way to send notes with products. But if you're printing your own mugs from home, you could do that. So, I don't know, that's just some random thoughts there. And, it's not something that you do if you're busy like me. But, maybe in the future, if I ever become unbusy or if I lose my job and I'm forced to rely on this business to meet my family's financial needs, that's something that I would consider doing, because I think I could scale that up pretty quickly. So that's it for this episode, guys. I want to talk as much about Amazon as I can. I mean, there's lots to talk about. I already told you about the title changes, but listen, things are going to change. You're going to come across problems. You're going to have customers that you're just going to want to punch in the throat because they're being just so unreasonable. Or they just have expectations that you can't meet, and they'll be angry when you can't meet them. That's okay. This business is still one of the greatest ways to earn money. I mean, think about this. Right now, just about every other business in North America and in the world, every other physical business is literally being suppressed by lockdowns. Not everyone, but a lot of countries have locked down non-essential businesses. So anybody that sells retail, if you're not selling, cleaning supplies or stuff like that, they won't even let you open. So you can't sell. And that sucks. I mean, this business model is open year-round, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I always wake up in the morning. The first thing I do is I check my seller accounts just to see if I made any sales. And I'm like, oh, sweet. Made $30 last night. Cool. Then I go about my day, and I don't have to worry about that. So that's why I love this business model, and Amazon is a huge part of that. So that's it for today's show, guys. Join me next week. I'm going to probably be talking about Amazon pay-per-click. All right? Cheers.